We are here because we love what we do. But loving something doesn't mean ignoring the parts that are wobbly in a way. Our industry inspires millions, brings stories to life, sometimes creates magic, but it also runs on early calls and late wraps and uncertain contracts, sometimes precarious conditions. And so here we are, while we all believe, and I assume you also believe, that it doesn't have to be like this. Today it's becoming practical. We're looking at what works, we're sharing tools, hopefully, and we want to move forward. And this small keynote wants to provide you kind of a small framework. So the solution we will hear after and the panels hopefully make better sense for you. So start with kind of an obvious statement. Production and costume design are creative professions. They depend on experience, cultural understanding, and artistic judgment. But our workflow is increasingly treated like industrial manufacturing, standardized, accelerated, and interchangeable. The prep times shrinks, budgets are flattened, and suddenly we are service providers instead of authors of film work. So the shift isn't just artistic, it's an economic shift. And whoever controls this framework of economic shifting controls also the value of this system. And right when these pressures grow, along comes a new player in the room, and I guess it's not a saver, just as it's more a technology with the finesse of a bulldozer, and he has a big VR agency behind his back. And you know what I'm talking about is this kind of two-letter word is AI. AI is many things, but neutral, I would say, isn't one of them. It shifts the balance of power, and it produces concepts in seconds, not necessarily the good ones, but it's undeniable fast and undeniable cheap. And cheap has a dangerous habit of becoming good enough. And here's the twist. Our job now includes, in plus, we have to defending the good solution against 1,000 of mediocre ones generated in no time, generated in seconds. And if you can't defend your ideas, someone or something will gladly replace it with a discounted version. And this raises questions, of course. Who owns AI-generated ideas? Who gets credit? Who gets paid? And crucially, who feeds the data? Under which conditions? And and for whose benefits? So I'm not saying rejecting AI, of course not. Working with it teaches us something valuable. Because if you prompt, you will get now to this. Success is not about having the right answer, it's about asking the right questions. But before it comes a larger discussion on this topic, let me return to more abstract world of the numbers. Let me very brief with that. Europe's audiovisual industry employs around 490,000 people. Most work project by project, contract by contract. There are different studies, one from the BACTU from the UK from 2017, and the latest by Imago, the European Association for all the camera associations in Europe. And this study is from 2024, but they tell the same story. Long hours, unstable contracts, rising expectations, declining budgets. you can read all these numbers in studies, but I spoiler them. Nobody reports a golden age of a work-life balance. There might be different studies, different groups, you say, and different countries, years apart. But one thing, the pattern holds. Many talented people stay in this industry just through their resilience, through their passion, and they are juggling multiple projects. And that doesn't make the system, in a way, healthy. It just makes the people extraordinary. And it makes our profession selective. Those without financial support struggle to enter, and too many have to leave mid-career. But when people disappear, perspectives disappear, and with them disappears relevance. So these figures aren't just statistics. They form a pattern. And those patterns they form tell us something essential about who gets to stay, who leaves, and which perspectives vanish in the process. Diversity isn't here a buzzword. It's a system indicator. If only certain biographies can survive in this industry, we shrink our creative spectrum. Ecological sustainability works the same way. It's essential, of course, and increasingly required, but it takes time, planning, and resources. When prep time shrinks and budgets tighten, sustainability becomes a stress factor rather than an integrated practice. In short, social and ecological sustainability both rely on realistic working conditions. And if the system pushes out exactly the people we want to keep, there's only one question left. What do we do about it? And I give you a hint. The answer doesn't start with waiting patiently. So, what could be the answer? We know our sector struggles with collective organizations. Independency might be our strength, but it's also our weakness. It isolates us. Imagine we shared fee transparency across Europe. Imagine minimum standards that actually meant something, not just something written somewhere. Imagine we stopped competing over who can deliver the impossible for the price of a sandwich in seconds. And let's be honest, the idea that suffering is necessary for art is a myth. Great working conditions don't prevent great films, they make them possible. So let me give you a glimpse of what structural change can look like when people stop waiting and start organizing. In Germany and Austria, production and costume designers are legally recognized as co-authors of a film. That alone is important, but it's not the real story. The true story is what was created in this context. Traditionally, directors, cinematographers, editors, production designers, and costume designers were anything but united, fronted when it came to authorship. If you've ever been in a room where authorship is discussed, you know harmony isn't not the default setting of this meeting. And yet, something in Germany, something unusual happened. The old rivals sat down together and realized they had more to gain as allies than as opponents. This alliance, directors, camera people, editing, production design, costume designer, now negotiates collectively. Not 5 associations knocking separately, but one coordinated group speaking with a single voice. And suddenly, negotiations became interesting. Let's say certain broadcasters were not delighted about this new alliance. So this is the real power shift. Not the law alone, but the collective structure that makes the law meaningful. Not the title co-author, but the ability to enforce it. It shows that professions with different traditions and priorities can find a common ground. And that doing so changes the balance of power in very real terms. And now, if this can happen in countries with notoriously complicated negotiation cultures, imagine what could be possible when we think on a European scale. Working conditions are not a side issue. They shape who participates in the creative conversation and who doesn't. And those who are exhausted cannot negotiate. And those who are financially insecure cannot take risks. Those who are excluded cannot tell their stories. And this isn't just a labor policy, it goes deeper. Right into the heart of the why storytelling matters at all and who gets to participate in. When we talk about working conditions, we also talk about democracy. So this is more or less a very big picture of all the things that come here together. But we are not here to admire the problems or drown in them. We're here because many of you are already building solutions. And now it's time to look at this. And in the panels that follows, you will see exactly that. Practical frameworks that already exist, alliances that already shift powers, and structures that can be scaled if we choose to scale them. None of this is theoretical. None of this is maybe one day. It's happening right now. And we can choose to be part of shaping it. Of course, the future won't wait for us. And the good news is we are perfectly capable of catching up, keeping pace, or getting ahead. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to